Hello friends, crossing my fingers that I'm live and that it looks like I am. Was having some connection issues just to get started, but now we look like we're good. All right, hi, I'm Tia Woodward and I am Stamp with Tia. I am a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator. And every afternoon at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I come to you with a demonstration of some Stampin' Up! Products. And today, I am going to demonstrate, the name just went right out of me, right out of my mind, but I believe it's Home and, goodness gracious, this is silly. The technology can fluster me sometimes when it doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Anyway, the stamp sets that I'm going to show you are Honeybee Home and Blessings of Home. This is a suite that's going to drive me crazy if I don't find it really quickly. This suite has a... Okay, this is rude because I'm looking at my catalog, which I can't show you the inside of, but I can show you the outside of. Well, there it is, page 61. Goodness gracious, this is the Heart and Home suite. So there's a designer series paper, there's trims, there's some memories and more cards, there's an embossing folder, there's 2 different stamp sets, 2 different die sets. I'm just going to show you a fraction of that today. I'm just going to demonstrate one card that I think shows you a few different things that are involved with this set. It's a really sweet set, and I think it's very versatile. You can change up the colors and really customize it to your needs and to your wants. So I'm going to increase this light just a little bit. I suspect we're slightly dark. And all right, so I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. We're kind of in between holidays, right? We had that Christmas holiday, and now we've got New Year's coming up. And I'm blessed with my regular day job. I had 17 days off, so I've been able to continue playing a bit. So let's see, what can I tell you? Well, January 4th, the new mini catalog starts, and it's beautiful. I believe so. I started with Stampin' Up! In August of 2019, and I think this is the most beautiful catalog to date. I love it. All those little tabs are projects that I have planned in the next 6 months. And then also during this particular catalog, in January and February, we have Celebration. And if you don't know what Celebration is an opportunity. If you order in increments of $50, it allows you to get free merchandise out of this catalog. And those are also projects that I'm demonstrating in the next 2 months. So some of the items from here coordinate with the items that are in here, and some of them are standalone. Both of them are beautiful. The other thing that I've got going on right now is during the month of December, I hit 10,000 first-time viewers to my Stampin' Up! Business page. And I am so thankful and I'm so grateful for everybody that is participating or allowing me to be their demonstrator or even just checking out my page. I'm so grateful for that, that I'm doing a drawing. So anyone that makes a purchase with me during the month of December, the month that I hit my 10,000, I am doing a drawing. And I'm doing the drawing on January 1st. So you have up through December 31st to make a purchase. Doesn't matter what size your purchase is. And I will put you in the drawing. I'm grateful for everybody and I thank you so very much. There's 2 prizes. The first prize is Art Gallery stamp set with the coordinating floral gallery dies. So this is from the annual catalog. This is a very popular and also very versatile stamp set. There's 15 stamps in here, and how many dies are in here? I can't read that. 7 dies. So that's a really nice first prize. And the second prize is the stitched greenery die, and this is one die that impresses a design across an entire piece of paper that would fit on a card front. That looks like leaves, looks like stitched leaves. It's beautiful. So those are the 2 prizes I'm giving away on January 1st. And again, you have until December 31st to place an order, and I will put your name in the pot for a prize. So thank you to everybody that's helping me to accomplish my goals. Those goals being becoming more well-known, getting my name out there, purchasing with me, standing by me while I try to build my little business. So I'm going to set those aside. I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything else to tell you other than turning my camera down so that I can show you some stuff. I want to show you, I don't have the entire collection for this Heart and Home suite, but I have several of the pieces. I definitely have enough to show you. So I'm going to turn my camera down and we're going to get started. I'm real sorry that we got started late. I don't know why Facebook wasn't allowing me to do a Facebook Live, but it is now, so I don't know what was holding me up. All right, so you can see that the December host code for Stamp with Tia is right here. So here are the 2 stamp sets from this Heart and Home collection. Now, am I saying that right, or am I saying that backwards? I'm going to go back and open this up and just leave that page open. Because I want to say Blessings of Home, because that's the one I've had the longest. And there we go. This is the Heart and Home. Heart and Home. I am saying it right. So the Blessings of Home, you can see there's 7 stamps in here. This is a red rubber stamp set. There are some really nice sentiments in here, like you are a real blessing to everyone around you, or have a perfect birthday. Then there are these 2 florals, and you can stamp these florals and use them as a background. You can stamp these florals. There's dies to cut them out, or you can use the die to cut them out and then go in and trim off part of it and just use part of it in pieces. So this is really nice. And then these are the dies, and I've got them all crammed onto one sheet of magnet, but you can see all these dies all go with this stamp set. Then we have the Honeybee Home. This has 12 stamps. This is really nice. I really like these sentiments. We have such happy news, so glad we're family. That's the one I'm using today. There's a couple of flowers. There's 3 bees. Stay wonderful. You're the nicest. I just really like this. It's non-standard, and it's a sweet font. Then here are the dies. This is also a red rubber stamp set. And if it looks like I'm missing a couple, it's because I've got them pre-mounted, ready to go for the day, for this presentation. And then besides cutting out some of these flowers and cutting out the bees, there's some dies for cutting out some cardstock for some, and I'm using all 3 of these today. So that is part of the Heart and Home. There is this ribbon, and if you've bought Stampin' Up! Product in the past, you may recognize this ribbon. It's called the Denim Ribbon, and we used to carry this in our annual catalog. It went away with this last catalog introduction, and now it came back in this collection. So this makes an absolutely beautiful bow, super, super easy. I am not using this ribbon today because it doesn't go with my project, the colors that I happen to pick. I'm going to use a ribbon that's from the annual catalog. But see, it instantly makes a beautiful bow. Or just, it makes a beautiful knot too. I've used this before on several projects. Then we have these classic matte dots. There's white, off-white, gray, and black. And what's nice about this is you can go in with your blender pens and you can color these dots to be any color that you want with your blender, with your alcohol markers. Then here is the Hive 3D embossing folder. I'm using this today. And then I want to show you the designer series paper real quick. I'm going to show you the prints. There's prints on both sides. There's 6 different prints on, there's 6 different prints. I'm going to tell you the colors really quick. Basic Gray, Cinnamon Cider, Fresh Freesia, Garden Green, Misty Moonlight, Pale Papaya, and White. So I'm going to show you all these prints first, and then I'm going to flip them over and show you what's on the other side. And then when we flip over, the other side is a neutral, and they are all white with basic gray prints. They're all just slightly different from each other. I think this is the one I'm using today. So with a little bit of ink or not, you can change up the look of this really easily. I'm actually going to do a torn paper look with this today. So let me set this aside. Those are what I have from this particular suite so far. When I get more, I will let you know. So I'm not using this stamp set today. I've already shown you which paper I'm using. I'm going to keep this out, these out. And I'm not using this because I'm going to use the Bumblebee Gingham ribbon, and you'll see why in just a moment. So I'll set these supplies aside. So today the card that I'm making is going to use that basic gray that we heard was in the color of one of the colors in the designer series paper. I'm going to go ahead and just burnish my fold line here. Then I'm using Bumblebee cardstock, and I've already impressed the 3D Hive folder. I'm going to be using this piece of the designer series paper. I'm going to be manipulating this paper a bit, and I can leave the rest of it to be a surprise over here in my little tray. All right, so first off, I am going to, my brain just, it didn't go, there it is. I needed a piece of paper to do some coloring on. So I'm going to, here we go. Now I'm good. So this piece of paper is going to be adhered down with, there's 2 sides. Both of them are really dynamic looking. This one has more of the bubble effect, and this one has more of that honeycomb effect that you can picture the bees putting the honey into. So that's the side I'm going to use here. And I'm actually going to tear all 4 sides of this. And I'm not sure what this is going to look like on camera because I've never done it on camera before, but I'm actually going to tear this corner off and I'm wanting to create kind of a distressed wood kind of look, and I'm probably going to tear that off more, but start with this. I'm just kind of wanting that weathered wood, kind of dilapidated, falling apart. Maybe you see the hive on the inside kind of situation here. So I'm just roughing up these edges. I don't need them to be shredded. I just want them torn. I have not done a lot of tearing of, I think I want to make this come down to about here. Just want it to look kind of roughed up a little bit, and I'm going to actually go in, and this is good. Ended up rather straight across the bottom, so not what I wanted. Wanted it to look a little bit more uneven, so I'm going to kind of do something like that. That's good. Now I'm going to come in with my paper and my blending brush and some ink. You can see that I practiced a little bit. Grab my blending brush. It looks like it's got red dye on it. It does not. It's been washed. It's completely, see, there's no dye coming off. So I'm using, my card is basic gray, but I am using smoky slate to kind of add a little bit of color to the edges of my paper. And the reason yeah, there we go. I'm just wanting to give it a little bit more of a little weathered look. And I'm starting on the paper and rolling in, because sometimes the blending brush, actually I'm getting better at being able to start just about anywhere I want, but sometimes the blending brush can create a blob, you know, when you first start out. Hi Sonia, thank you for sharing. Oh, and thank you for joining me from Montreal. I've seen your name so much and I wasn't sure where you were from, although I suspected Canada. Thank you so much for joining me. All right, so just adding some warmth and depth. And I'm not trying to make it even. I'm just trying to add some depth to the edges of that paper that I just tore. And I actually think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to close this up for now. I'm going to adhere. Now there's a couple different things I could do here. I could use dimensionals and apply this. I might as well go ahead and do that. I'm going to use dimensionals. I did do a practice card, but it wasn't the kind of practice card that you show off ahead of time. It was what worked and what didn't work. Maybe just for giggles, I'll show you my my practice card after we finish this one. So Sonia, are you getting snow up there? We're in the middle of a weather event right now. Let's see, I just realized I need to move this up a little bit. I honestly don't know what direction our weather is coming from at the moment. I live at the end of the Columbia Gorge in Vancouver, Washington. And sometimes we get these weather events from the gorge, and sometimes we get them from the coast, and sometimes we get them from up north. All right. So right now we just had a winter storm warning. All right, I just centered my hive on the front. And now I'm going to apply this distressed piece off to one side. And I'm going to have it overlap off the edges, just about like such. So I just wanted to expose this honeycomb, but I wanted a little bit of this wood here. And I am going to, let's see, do I want to use, I'm not going to use dimensionals. I'm going to use adhesive, and I'll move this to one side so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm on the back, and not worried about getting too close to the edges, because it's okay to me that things are either lifting up. Oh, I actually meant to go in and use my bone folder and distress this, but because I've already applied glue, I'm not going to. On my test piece, I went in with a bone folder and I just kind of ruffled the edges, just slightly, not a ton. There we go. That looks kind of nice. Then I did pre-die cut. See if I can get them out of here. Some flowers that will go on the front. And these, again, these were from the Honeybee Home bundle. And these were these 3 of the dies. And you'll see me using the bead dies here shortly. All right, so this is what my sentiment is going to be on, and my sentiment is going to sit off to one side about like this. So the flowers are going to come up and out of this. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp. And this one says, "So glad we're family." And I'm just using the same color of ink that I used on the edges of the paper that I added ink to with the blending brush. And let's see how well I can do this. How well I can do this without putting my head in the camera. Cross your fingers for me. Here we go. I did cut out an extra. Yep, it's crooked. I did cut out an extra. It's straight enough. It's straight enough for not being able to put my head over it. And I'll probably end up balancing this out by putting a gem on here. Okay. Hi, Amy. Thank you for joining. Hi, Michelle. Thank you. I did have a wonderful Christmas. And Sonia says, you do have a bit of snow, but the weather is very weird lately. Sometimes warm and other days cold. Not the usual temperature that we're used to. Yeah, right now is colder than we're used to here in the Vancouver area. And it's about to drop and become even more cold. Okay, so this piece is going to sit here. I'm going to create a little flower arrangement here. Yeah, it's quite a bit colder for the Portland metropolitan area, which is where I'm at. I should have cut, and did not, I should have applied adhesive sheet to the back of this, but I didn't, so I'm going to go ahead and just put a few little spots of adhesive, the green glue. I don't need a ton. Let's see, so I'm putting the tallest one in the back. And I'm going to lay this here because my test card, I actually got the flowers a little low, so I want to make sure that I get this a little higher. So about like such. So what do you think so far? Do you like this hive? I am going to put a couple of the bees on here. I have not stamped or cut those out yet, but I will. I'm going to put these grasses on first, maybe something like such, and then the flowers. Yeah, about hold up glue dot, mini glue dot to apply these. I'm just using the adhesive today. So if you didn't hear my news at the beginning of this particular Facebook Live, I have been posting this, but this month I reached 10,000 first-time viewers on my business page, on my Stampin' Up! Business page. And as a thank you, I'm holding a drawing. And if you make a purchase from me, if you've already made a purchase, you're already in the drawing in the month of December. And you have until December 31st to make a purchase. I don't care what size purchase. I'm just celebrating, and I've got some prizes to give away, and I'll do the drawing on January 1st. The prizes are, I've got two. One is the Art Gallery, used to be a bundle and now it's not sold as a bundle, but it's the Art Gallery stamps and dies. I'll show them to you. They are right here. So it's the Art Gallery stamps and the Floral Gallery dies. Coordinates with this. 15 dies, I think there's, or 15 stamps, and I think there was 7 dies in here. So that's prize number 1. Prize number 2 is the stitched Greenery Die. So this embosses or die cuts an entire page for the front of a card with some stitched leaves on it, and it's beautiful. And I am so excited to do that. I am, there we are, I'm looking all over for my dimensionals here. So this is going to sit about like such. Hi, John. Hi, TJ. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I really kind of liked it too. And I used the blending brush to add some ink to the edges of the paper. I used the Hive 3D embossing folder to create the texture. I'm going to apply this and then I will pull that up so you can see it. Oh, something like that. So see that 3D Hive embossing folder? And here I've torn the paper. I've used the blending brush and added some, I think this was Smoky Slate. Yep, Smoky Slate ink. I used the dies from the Honeybee Home bundle. These 3 dies to add these flowers. And now I'm going to stamp and die cut some bees. So cleaning up my little bit of stuff going on here. Yeah, different parts of the area that we live in got, some got just a little bit of snow and some got a lot more snow. Yesterday at 2 different points we got about a ½ inch of snow, and then it would melt and go away. And today we have a skiff out there, just a very small amount, and it's cold enough that it isn't going anywhere. It's really powdery. I'm sorry, I'm hesitating because I'm just deciding what I want to tell you here. So I tried stamping these bees on Bumblebee and they didn't turn out that well. So I'm restamping them in white. And I've got a couple different bees. There's 3 different bees and they're facing 2 different directions. So I'm going to clean this one off. This is really the best size block for these bees. And I really like this one more because he his wings are spread apart. And that might sound silly, but I think aesthetically he's more attractive. Now you all know. All right. Ooh, he turned out nice. So I'm going to clean that off, set this to one side, and looking for my dies, which I try really hard to always put away. So these are the two dies. My Stampin' Emboss machine is off to one side, and I'm going to leave it there. I'm using the big one today because I was using the Hive folder. I'm going to use the Post-it tape to hold these dies in place. And I'm going to sit and talk just a little louder because I need to get close enough to line up. And I'm going to, let's see, I'm wondering if you can see that from there. Maybe not. But I am making sure that I can see the perimeter of all the ink inside of the edges of my die here. And then I am putting my Post-it tape on. And I'm going to do the same here and trying really hard to keep my hair. Is everybody else going through the same thing I am with this weather that's coming through? I have static electricity. My hair is sticking up all over the place. It's like, I was like, well, okay, people are looking at my hands more than my face. All right, so I'm going to take those and I'm going to run them through my cut and emboss in folder. And with any luck, I lined those up and they didn't shift when I taped them in place with that Post-it tape. There we go. So we had a nice and quiet Christmas at our house. We were perfectly happy with that. Well, he turned out just right. Come on. So, okay. Nice and quiet at our place, and we have a couple more events that are supposed to be taking place in the next week. We will see if the weather interrupts those plans or not. Let's see, so I think I could probably put one bee in the hive and maybe one bee on the flowers or something like that. What do you think? Should I do a third one? Maybe I'll go ahead and do a third bee, and I'll go ahead and do the one that I think is more aesthetically pleasing. Oh, but if I do that, then I'll have to switch those around. That's all right. So super excited to be celebrating my first 10,000 business page views. I shot right past that since I started this little promotion. Sorry, I'm making sure I don't lose my die here. Since I started this promotion, I have shot way up. I'm already 300 past that, for which I am grateful and do not take for granted. All right. Here is our third bee. And I'm going to grab my blender pen and just throw a little bit of color on these guys. If I remember correctly, they didn't make a bumblebee colored, and when I say bumblebee, that's actually one of our ink colors and one of our paper colors, but I don't believe they made those with the blender pens. So I am going to grab probably Daffodil Delight. It's a little bit punchier in color. I'm going to go ahead and grab my So Saffron as well, because it's got that little bit more of a brown tone in it. And that way I'll try to make the bees all just slightly different. And then I'm also going to use some Wink of Stella. So I'm going to go in here and just add just a wee bit of color to this bee. And same thing here. And I'm not going to pretend that I know exactly where the yellow needs to be and where it doesn't. I'm going to hope that the ink colors, the gray, will suffice as the stripes. There we go. So I've got some yellow on there. I'm going to grab the Wink of Stella and add some glitter or glimmer to the wings. So, and I imagine their eyeball is glimmery too, but I'm not doing that. That's just a little too weird for me. Now, there. I'm having a hard time picking stuff up today. With this dry weather, not only did I end up with really staticky hair, but I ended up with really brittle nails, and so I've chopped my nails way down. Okay, so probably put the two different kind of bees over on the hive and the other one on the flower. Something like such. What do y'all think? Think that'll work? I think that'll work. Okay. So I'm going to use a little dimensional on the bee. I'm trying to decide. I think I'm going to put him up on the higher. Oh yeah, that's better. Okay. So I will stand back up in a minute and not shout. There we go. There is one bee. And let's see, I think I'm going to put, need to figure this out so that they're not looking too matchy-matchy. Maybe one here and one up here, something like that. These dimensionals are awesome. Did you know that the mini dimensionals and the standard dimensionals, they're smaller around, but I'm just going to turn him a little bit so he looks like he's doing something different. That they are the same depth, the same thickness. Yes, they are. No. This one. Maybe a bit like such. All right, so now our bees are on there. I have a couple of other items left to add to the front. I have this bumblebee colored gingham ribbon that I'm just going to make a bow, and it's going to go here, and I think it's going to balance all this out nicely. And then I have these gems, and then I'm going to add some layers to the inside of the card. So my bow maker, yep, there it is. Covered it up with my catalog. I'm just going to make, I'm not going to make, you've seen me make floofy bows. I'm going to stand again so I don't have to yell. You've heard me make floofy bows, seen me make floofy bows where I use multiple layers of ribbon, etc. Today I'm just going to use a single. I think this is just sweet, and some of those kind of bows can look a little fancier, and this is distressed, so I'm going to kind of keep with that look. And immediately dropped my, there we go. So my friend Ron makes these bow makers, and I now have, okay, come on. I now have some inventory of them. so I can start selling them. The only thing I don't know is exactly what the price is going to be. I think it's going to be $7, but I don't have that in writing yet. And then I will be able to sell those for him. Okay, I am going to use a mini glue dot to adhere that right there. Let's see. Oh, you need to order one? You got it. Oh, sweet. What kind of cards are you working on? I still have holiday cards that I'm finishing up. All right, I'm going to add this bow off to one side, right? Whoops, don't want to cover up my sentiment. I'm going to take it off to the edge a little bit. Well, there we go, that's better. And now when I trim that, it'll not cover up the sentiment. I promise, I promise, I promise. So first I'm going to cut down here, and then I'm going to pull this up so that it frames the corner. Cut this a little bit more. And like such. And now we have some gems to throw on there. So I've got black, I've got gray, I've got off-white, and I've got white. I'm thinking I'm going to use the gray. I haven't even used any out of this pack yet, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Yep. So like I mentioned earlier, if I wanted, I don't in this case, but if I wanted some yellow in this kind of matte dot, I can color them with my alcohol markers and it will stay. It will dry nicely on there. I am going to use the gray for this. I'm going to use take my pick tool to pick up some dots and figure out where I want to lay them at. So I think, whoops, well, that doesn't normally happen. And where did it go? It landed inside of my stamp case. It's because I didn't get fresh clay on the end so that it was sticky. There we go. I'm going to put a dot in here somewhere. Actually, I liked it better in my first location. There we go. And then I'm going to throw a couple of the smaller ones, I think, up in here. Or not. Thank you, TJ. Oh, the gumball. Yeah. Okay. Did that flip on me? There we go. And let's see, I said I was going to put one down here, didn't I? Because I was off center in my... it's not my favorite place of dots. Let's see. Could have probably put that in a slightly better location. Okay, so there's our front. And on the inside, I'm going to use a piece of bumblebee cardstock and a piece of white where you would write your message. And I'm going to stamp this, not this one, this bumblebee. So my card is oriented like such. I'm going to stamp this bumblebee right here. Or right here. Actually, I like it right there. can't wait to show you my original experimental card and how different these are looking. They look similar. You can tell the concept was the same, but this one's turning out much nicer. And stamping my bee. And darn it, I got a halo, and that's why I was trying really hard not to wiggle. Let's try that again. It was a big halo, it wasn't a little halo. If it was a little halo, and I'm going to grab my chamois and try to wipe some of this ink off of the edge here. If it had been a little halo, I would have tried to erase it, but it was too big. And now I'm going to come back and try to just touch, and I avoided any halo, so, or I think I did. Try this again. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and color him in the same way that I did the other bees. I'm just going to give him a yellow body. And then I am going to go in with the Wink of Stella and add the glimmer to the wings. Technically, I should use the bullet end. On these two bees, the legs are too small to color in, but on this one, I'm noticing it actually can be colored in. So I'm just going in and adding just a hint of color to the whitest areas. There we go. Now I'm going to adhere this to a mat before I glue it or adhere it to the inside of the card. And this is the back side. Nobody's going to see it. Thankfully we have the two sides that we can use. And because I do mat it, a lot of times no one will ever see. The matting allows me to do a couple of things. It allows me to color, because it's going to bleed through. The alcohol markers bleed through. And because I like to add layers to the inside of my card, this is actually one of the reasons that I like to add layers to the inside of my card, is because then when it bleeds through, it's going to be hidden. It's never going to show through to the back of the card. And now I'm going to adhere this to the inside of the card. Do you like this? I hope. And I'm going to show you my original concept card. Does anybody else do that? Make concept cards? I make it out of scraps, so I'm not being too terribly wasteful. And every now and then I get lucky enough that it turns into a card that I can actually sell or show online. But there we go. So this is all adhered down. Isn't that pretty for the inside of a card? And then there's the outside of our card. My friends, this is Heart and Home, the suite. And I've just used bits and pieces of that suite. Here's the stamp set that I've used. Here is the Hive 3D embossing folder. Here are the dots, the matte dots. And then this is not part of that suite. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a denim ribbon that comes with this suite, but because I chose this particular color palette, I switched the ribbon up from something that's in the annual catalog. And I just told you I was going to, there it is. So this is very incomplete, my concept. Hi, Michelle. Oh boy, it does just happen. This was my concept card, just trying to play with the tearing, getting the color on figuring out what size label I wanted to use, the position of the flowers. I think I showed earlier some of the bumblebees. I was trying to actually print them or stamp them in bumblebee and then cut them out. I didn't like what it looked like. And then I forgot I had pre-stamped this and had my card going the wrong direction. So that was my concept card, but it allowed me to get to this point for the sake of this video. Friends, I am so grateful for you joining me today. I absolutely love doing this. Again, sorry that there was the connection issue and that Facebook didn't give me a Facebook Live button until I rebooted. So I'm sorry I was a little bit late. Thank you for joining me today. This suite becomes available on January 4th. And I can't wait to show, let's see. No, I don't have anything right here to show you. I have other cards. Darn it. What time is it? Can I tell? It is, okay, I'm a little bit past the hour. Hang on, I'm gonna grab one card that I really think that you would like to see using the 3D Hive. Oh my goodness, so sorry. Okay. So this is a card that I made using the other part of the Blessings of Home part of the collection. And then I'm digging through a rubber banded stack of cards here. Because as I was standing here, I realized I never got to show you my other card using the 3D Hive. So this is the very first card that I made using this suite. And I didn't get to show this to you before because I had already sent this off for swaps. So here I used saffron, I used Flirty Flamingo, I used, this is soft seafoam and white. And then the inside says blah, blah, such happy news. But quite a bit different look. I love the feel of this in my hand after it's been embossed. Okay, friends, thank you much. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll be back Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. And have a wonderful week. And please be safe if you're having the kind of weather that we are. Much love and hugs to you all. Bye-bye.